Hello, everyone. I'm coming to you again doing another recording, and it is going to talk about a couple of topics. I'm going to start off with Three Eye Atlas and just the downloads that I've been getting since it passed Earth, as we are told. I'm going to choose to believe that, and but more recently, the Creator of the universe has brought to my attention something that I'm not a scientist, but I kind of remember hearing something similar in Star Trek about using a planet as a slingshot to, you can go past your intended target, but because you're going so fast, you would have to slow down so that you can come back to that object, in this case, a planet. So again, Jupiter is so big that you can actually use this gravity well in order to make a maneuver if you're going too fast for a particular object that you want to land on. But you still needed to reach that object. You could, in our solar system, you could use Jupiter's gravity to do that, or to maneuver to other heavenly bodies in space, in our solar system and beyond. Apparently, NASA has done this in the past with our satellites, or with its satellites, to slingshot them to different aspects of our solar system, thereby preserving fuel and or slowing down or changing speeds. And so the creator of the universe brought this to my mind to go ahead and put that in, Google, and sure enough, it is possible that because we know that Three Eye Atlas is traveling faster than the speed of light, that its probably real intention is to bypass the Earth, pick up the information that it needs from the Earth, you know, which is more or less of what is going on, and get positionalities of different peoples and races on the earth, and just to see the condition of the planet itself. There's a lot of information that it may have pulled from the earth, and then going past us, and now, as we understand, it's actually on its way to Jupiter. It will not reach Jupiter until March of 2026. So, and they said it will be closest around the 16th, I believe, of March. March is a very prophetic um, month. There are a lot of people who make up Christ's kingdom that were anointed in that month. So, back in the early 80s, some maybe a little earlier than that. But anyway, but what the creator brought to my mind is that it could use Jupiter's gravity to slow itself down and to wrap around Jupiter, and then to come back around at a slower speed, and then still make its way to Earth. So I tried to put into Google um, that, okay, if a Three Eye Atlas would do this, how long would it take it to reach Earth? And of course, they gave the spiel that it's not coming back. I mean, it literally, on Google, the first sentence was, "It's not coming back." It's heading out to space. And then, so I had to type in some other things, like, were there any other objects out there that were man made and where we used it? And of course, I got the confirmation of that. But the creator in my put it in my mind that there's a variable of speed, because we don't know, um, and I probably need to put that into the to, to Google or AI, of extrapolating between the speed that is traveling now. How much will it need to slow down, you know, in order for it to make that circumference back to heading toward planet Earth? And And do you know what came up for me up in my the creator brought up for me is that that's the reason why Steven Spielberg will be releasing his movie in the summer of 2026 about disclosure, and putting that together is because uh, there's been communication, perhaps maybe, between Three Eye Atlas and the powers that shouldn't be, which is why NASA was probably acting so funny style. And even now, they're still silent. Now, you would expect them to take a victory lap at this point. I know they had Avi Loeb speaking, and he's saying, "Well, I think it's kind of natural." He's leaning toward that, but he does. The Most High is not beholden to him or anybody else on this planet. But what I find curious is that the governments are not taking a victory lap either. And now you have this man, Steven Spielberg, known worldwide for his movies and his commentary on, various things. I mean, when he came out with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I was a little child. As a matter of fact, I was almost, I think, similar age or a little younger, maybe a year younger, than the little boy, the little blonde boy that he had in that movie. So, which is very, very interesting because it came out in the 70s when a lot of Gen Xers, of course, between, the late 65, 70s, excuse me, yeah, between the late 60s to early 80s, you have the Generation X being born. And so we were alive during that pivotal movie that is still relevant to this day. But I don't want to get off topic. So this man is now, soon as Three Eye Atlas was coming close, he decided that he was going to go ahead and start making his promotion about this new movie that's going to come out. During the time that Three Eye Atlas was crossing Earth, he dropped his preview of the movie, which is genius marketing, of course. But it takes movies are made like 2 or 3 years prior to their release date, right? Some even longer than that. So they had to know that this object was coming years ago. And so just put it together. This man then began to do the project that is about aliens and the disclosure of aliens that inhabit our planet and inhabit our space area. So, having put in all that together, it is quite possible that this thing's going so fast, faster than the speed of light. It has hit all of these planets in our solar system. It has did what it done to the Earth, and to the sun, and particularly that it could very well be heading out to Jupiter so that it can slingshot itself around to slow itself down, coming out of faster than speed of light, and then being able to maneuver at a breakaway pace where that it can come here calmly and gently to the Earth and begin its and do what it needs to do. It can still make orbit. So this may not be over yet. But however, if it gets there by March, we have, and I believe that so the release date is actually going to be, it looks like it's going to be June the 12th, and 2026. So we have March, April, May, and June. So roughly 4 months where this object can actually head back to us, somewhere in between that time. I'm telling you, this may not be over yet, people. This may not be over yet, and the powers that shouldn't be probably know it is not over yet. I find it funny that because you would that NASA's not taking a victory lap. You would think that all the scientists who were saying that it was just a comet would be uh, just doing the most on every platform. But I just noticed that they're very quiet. You don't find that at all, that they're not making any more commentary. Not even the governments are really talking about it. I mean, they said a couple of things, but you would think that because of all the hoopla that has happened, that there would be more of a stringent enforcement of, see, we told you so. We told you that it was a comet. They just had this man kind of say his thing, and Avi Loeb, and you really haven't heard from him in the couple of days. Maybe they have disclosed some things to him about what is really about to happen, and they want him, quite possibly, allegedly, to shut his mouth now, so that they can do whatever they're planning to do within these next 6 months, or in 2026. So again, this was the download that I received, and then just to one other thing is that when I received this download, I was reading from the book of Joel, and it's about all nations being judged in the plains of Jehoshaphat. And so I want to just kind of read some of this to you because it's so very important. And I'm reading out of Joel, and it's the last chapter, chapter 3. It's a small book. And it says on verse 9, it says, "Proclaim this, you people among the nations. Sanctify war, arouse the powerful men. Let them draw near. Let them come up, all the men of war." It says, "Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into lances. As for the weak one, let him say, I am a powerful man." And this is a very, really powerful, prophetic verse, because we always hear about the reverse of the plowshares and pruning hooks being or the swords being beat into plowshares and pruning hooks because of peace, that there will be peace one day. But do you know that that this is the reverse of that, because it's probably going to be not only the military might of this world, but also just the common people that are going to be aroused to go to battle. And then it says here about the powerful men. I always think about the generals that were brought in by the Secretary of Defense, War, and whose name I can't remember right now, but who were brought in and sat down and, got a grilling like as if they were cadets. You wonder how many people this administration had in their ranks, in the generals' ranks, in the high military general ranks. How many of them were pissed off by that? And maybe other things too, because there are other generals that are retired or been decommissioned one way or another, and some of them have been made a fool of by this administration. So I thought that this is an interesting verse in the time that we are in. It goes on to say, "Lend your aid and come, all you nations round about, and collect yourselves together." This is huge. Lend your aid and come. Who will they be lending their aid to? And it reads, for that answer, "To the place, O Jehovah, or O Lord, bring your powerful ones down." So this is, I'm going to do another a tape on this, because this is so pivotal about and pertinent to our time right now, about all the nations being judged in the plains of Jehoshaphat. But it goes on, let the nations be aroused and come up to low plains of Jehoshaphat, for there I shall sit in, in order to judge all the nations round about. So Jehoshaphat, when you read about what these words mean, there are aids to the Bible that can give you more information. And so there's many things, but when it says about the low plains, one of the things that I came across, it says, at the symbolic level of this, the low plains of Jehoshaphat, Jehovah judges is the what the term means. It goes on to say, for this little explanation of what the low plains of Jehoshaphat means, it goes, the nations are worthy of execution on account of their mistreatment of his people. The low plains itself serves as a huge symbolic wine press or a stomping for crushing the nations like a bunch of grapes, gathering them together so that they may be dealt with. So when they do this, it goes on to say, when they come to the low plains, it goes on to say, thrust in a sickle. And when it says like the wine press and sickle and whatnot, it's talking about military grade weaponry. Okay. And so it goes on 13, thrust in a sickle, for the harvest has grown ripe. Come, descend, for the winepress has become full. The press vats actually overflow, for their badness has become abundant. And we can readily see this today with the release of like the Epstein files, and how many people of power were involved in a culture that has been largely foreign to the masses. And then the undergirding of the spiritual part of that, what you have to understand or consider, that what could be happening is that they were feeding, like vampires, feeding off the spirits of these innocent women, or in some cases children, apparently, is what the Epstein files, what they're saying it holds. So there is so much more to so I'm going to read the rest of this. Verse 14, crowds are in the low plain of the decision, for the day of Jehovah or the Most High is near in the low plains of the decision. The decision to retribute and what has been lost, and for the sins that have been, and the brutality that has been plagued upon the people of the Most High. I'm just saying here. I am not reading the verse right now. And also too for Armageddon, basically, is what this is talking about in our day. So sun and moon themselves, this is the verse, will certainly become dark, and the very stars will actually withdraw their brightness. This is the government, and we can see that actually happening today. That is not only losing or has lost a great deal of its power, but also its respect and the veneration that people, especially here in America, but also all over the world, knowing that so many people in many different nations were involved in this ritual-like aspect, in places that were high and ruling over the masses of people. So 16 says, out of Zion Jehovah himself will roar, and out of Jerusalem he will give forth his voice, and heaven and earth will certainly will rock, but Jehovah will be a refuge for his people and a fortress for the sons of Israel. It goes on, and you people will have to know that I am the Lord your God, residing in Mount Zion, my holy mountain, and Jerusalem must become a holy place. That's New Jerusalem. And as regards strangers, they will no more pass through her. So this is, of course, dealing particularly with the United States, because that there will Mount Zion will reside in New Jerusalem, and the powers that shouldn't be will not have access to our area. It looks like here forever. So it finishes off in Joel chapter 3, verses 18 through 21. It says, "And it must occur in that day that the mountain," which is basically government, "will drip with sweet wine." He's talking about Zion, where Christ's kingdom will reign. "And the very hills will flow with milk, and the very stream beds of Judah will all flow with water. And out of the house of Jehovah, or the Most High, there will go forth a spring, and it must irrigate the Torrent Valley of the acacia trees." So all of the things that have happened in America, and especially in New Jerusalem, I believe it is going to be basically the West Coast. There's going to be a healing not only for us as the people, but also to the land. That's because our wealth is in the land along with each other. As regards Egypt, a desolate wasteland will become. So as regards America, a desolate wasteland it will become. And as regard Edom, or those from the Caucasus Mountains, those that have benefited the most, which are white people, and of course, not only the government, but all of America and its allies, a wilderness of desolate waste it will become, because of the violence to the sons of Judah, in whose land they shed innocent blood. And we're talking about from the time that they arrived here in 1492 all the way to this day, all the way through the bloodletting and taking us into slavery, whether or not we came, a little bit of us from the slave ship, and the bulk of us here, right, who were already here in America. It closes by saying, verse 20, "But as for Judah, to time indefinite it will be inhabited, and Jerusalem to generation after generation. And I will consider innocent their blood." That is, oh my goodness, brothers and sisters. That means no matter what we have done in this land, he's already gonna, or the Most High is already gonna consider that innocent. He's not gonna beat us over the head because of it. He's not gonna say wag his finger at us and say you're guilty, guilty. No, he will consider innocent our blood. And he goes on to say that I had not considered innocent, and Jehovah will be residing in Zion. That means the power of the Most High's actual power will be bestowed upon us as a people. And but we got to go through some things right now. And so before we can get to the desolation, there's obviously something that is going to take place that's going to be unfortunately very violent. So let's not count out 3i Atlas, because it still may be en route to us. Again, the creator of heaven and earth is really amazing, because he gives us this wisdom. And so I'm not a scientist, but it looks like it may not be over just yet. It may not be over just yet. And that's the reason why they're coming out with this film. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned.